Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Ensoniq EPS Classic. It's one of the best samplers I've ever used, and I've used quite a bit. Um, if you are looking at this video, you're either the proud new owner of this machine, or you're looking to acquire one, and you kind of want to know what it can do, right? So I'm just going to start at the very basics here, how to sample a sound in, and the menus that you're going to encounter along the way, and sort of the sound manipulation you can easily get to using this sampler. Yeah, let's start with the facts, right? 13-bit sampler, 13-bit, that's very unique, right? But what's really great about this particular sampler is that you have many different sample rates that you can sample in at, right? And there's filters to adjust for noise compensation. Because with any low bit sampler, you're going to run into noise. Low bit samplers don't like to handle dynamics too well. That's but it's just part of the old school vintage sampler appeal. Yeah, it's hard to sample in an 808 bass drum with a long decay into any of these older samplers without running into a little bit of noise. So to compensate for that, they put in a filter. Also for memory as well. You're going to run out of memory. These samplers run at these have floppy disks that are 890 kilobits, I believe, or is it 790? Anyways, either way, it's less than 1 megabyte. But you don't really have to worry about it because you can fit a lot of material in if you just adjust the sample rates. And you'll find that it doesn't sound all that lo-fi. It actually has great fidelity. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to sample a sound in. We're just going to create a string pad. This is my Moog Little Fatty, and it has a string patch that I really love, 1975 strings, that I want to be able to play harmonically. I want to be able to play chords with this, and unfortunately this is a monophonic synth. So let's sample it into here at a low sample rate. To impart some sort of character into the sound, and then we'll go from there. So here, when you start it up, you hit sample. You got to wait for the OS disk to load. You're going to be using, if you have this, you're going to be using the OS disk for just about any sound parameter. So keep that inserted in the disk slot at all times, unless it's time to save, and then that's when you put a disk in. I have the floppy emulator, the flash floppy emulator installed in this because I hate floppy disks. I've lost so much work in the past due to bad floppy, so never a floppy again. So hit sample button, pick sample instrument. Cool, let's do that. All right, now here's the first menu you're going to run into. This right here, this little star is a threshold. It will not record until sound passes this threshold, and then it'll start recording your sample, right? I'm going to lower that to there. It doesn't really matter. You'll see what I'm going to do with this here. So let's go over here. We'll go one to the right, and this is your sample rate. Now, you can go all the way up to 52 kilohertz. That's impressive. So here we go. Let's just count them down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 7, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 40 different sample rates that you can sample in at. That is crazy. No other sampler that I've ever used has had that many different sample rates that you can sample in at. And like I said, if you're worried about space on your floppy disk, don't. You'll be surprised at how well 6 kilohertz actually sounds. But I want this to be at 12, or do I want it to be at 16? I think I'm going to go 16 on this. Okay, So 16. Now the next page, if you scroll one more to the right, is your filter cutoff. This is suggested. It suggests that the filter is cut off at 6 kilohertz, right? So anything above 6 kilohertz, we're not going to really hear. This is preventing noise from being introduced to your sample. If you have a long decay, you might hear some noise if you choose to go above, and which is what you can do by hitting the up and down arrows. You can actually go below it. No, actually you can't. So you can go above. I'm going to go to 14.3. 14.3 is very cassette-like, right? This sampler is great at duplicating the sound of a cassette very well, actually. So yeah, 14.3 is a good cutoff that I usually like to go to, but I usually hover around 14.3 to 16.7. Just depends on what material I sample into it. For drums, I usually like things a little bit brighter. So yeah, 14.3. This is your pre-trigger. If you go back, remember we had that little star? Say if a sound is just before the threshold, if you set the pre-trigger, you can get sound just before it reaches that threshold, right? So I'm just going to put that at 26. Fine. Input level line, you also have a mic input level. I usually go line. I've never really had to use the mic input. The mic input on this is not as strong. It doesn't have a mic preamp that I find favorable. That's one thing I got to say about it. So usually with most samplers, I like to saturate the mic preamp to get a certain sound, right? But that's only because most of those samplers are very limited in what you can actually sample in. You can't choose a lot of different sample rates. This one you can. And I tend to just favor on the side of line input for this. So yeah, sample time. Now remember, we're over at 16.4 kilohertz. So yeah, we get 31 seconds of sample time. If we went all the way down to 6, we would get 83 seconds of sample time. I have the memory expansion, the 2 times memory expansion. Every once in a while, I will exceed the diskette memory using this. But this, like I said, it's every once in a while. The EPS likes to measure things in blocks. And per disk, per floppy disk, you get 1,500 blocks, right? You'll see how many blocks we end up with here, just sampling this one sound. I have sampled, 2 to like 4 bars worth of loop material, and then sampled individual drum hits, and still I was at 1,200 blocks. So very, very, like I said, you don't really have to worry about sample time so long as you adjust the sample input here. The sample rate input. So yeah, I said I was going to go at 16.4, so let's go at 16.4, and then let's go back over here. Now I wanted that at 14.3, cassette-like. Okay, cool. Now we're ready to sample, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down this key, but we could just do this. We'll hit yes. Now it's ready to sample, waiting for sound. All right, so there you go. I mean, that's pretty much how you sample into it. Going down really low here. So, sorry, my volume is kind of distorting the little speaker that this is playing out of. But let's see if I can get that to... Cool. Eventually, if we play up higher, we'll run out of that. right? But there's ways around. There's ways around this to make it loop, right? So we can go to Edit, Layer 1, Wave Sample 1. Let's go to Wave, Loop. Let's choose some sort of arbitrary loop point here. Let's go over here and boom, 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 boom. Oh, wait. Sorry, that was the... I didn't want to do that. Loop start. Let's choose some sort of arbitrary loop point right there. Loop end. Let's go over here. Cool, cool, cool. All right, loop position. So then... And now this will hold down forever. Right. So very easy to set loop points. There's also little tricks you can do here. So you can go to Command Wave, and then sort of choose different types of loop settings. There's ensemble crossfade, bow tie. I really like that one. Bidirectional, make loop longer. Synthesize loop is really cool. It kind of changes the whole sound of things. You can literally just sample your voice and it'll synthesize that and create a synth patch out of it. It's really incredible. I will definitely do a tutorial on that. Yeah, you have filters. There's another thing about this. I mean, so there's so much sound design you can do with this. Right? So now let's say if that sounds great, but I kind of want to be able to control that with the expression wheel, right? So I'll do that, and let's do that. Let's go to the F2 mod. Yeah, we'll also put wheel, and we'll do that. So now, I don't know if you can see my hand doing that. Let me. Sorry about that. This is bad camera work here. Okay, but yeah. Right? This is the tip of the iceberg for what you could do with sound design on this sampler. Like I said, I'm kind of obsessed with it. Maybe I should do some more beat-oriented stuff, but I wanted to show you that the strength of this particular sampler is in sampling things that you can pitch up and down the keyboard. You have 8 instruments. So say if you wanted this as one of your instruments in your sequencer, and then the next instrument is a drum loop. You can also have that, and you can sequence the 2 instruments together. You have up to 8 tracks, pretty much, of different sounds that you can load in here. I love this sampler, and I think if you are willing to sort of dig into learning this sampler, the sky's the limit. There's really nothing that you can't really do. Of course you can't time stretch. You can't do any of the more modern stuff. But you can sample things in and sequence an entire song's worth of material. And this came out in 1988, 89. This was way ahead of its time. Way ahead of its time. So, yes, the EPS Classic. I hope this helps somebody. I hope I didn't just ramble too much and noodle around too much, but yeah, hopefully this helps you. Have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will definitely answer them. More tutorials to come. Peace.